So welcome back to DST's Golf Channel, where we're dedicated to helping you become a better ball striker. This is session 3 in Project Back on the Fairway, where we're helping PGA professional and Director of Golf at Salisbury Golf Centre, Ben Christey-Clover, get his game back on track. See you in a second. Shall I just dive into here and then I'm going to try and share screens and share ideas with you, and then we can just talk through it.
Looking forward to it. Let's do it.
In session 1, we did a slow-mo of your swing with a 9-iron, a 5-iron and driver. And it was in that kind of time in the office here that I worked out that maybe that ball position was too far back, and that kind of has an effect on us, right? So in other words, because the ball position is a little bit too far back, your equilibrium, your brain is saying, I want to move towards the target, but if I do move towards the target, I'm going to hit the ball down into the ground. Does that make sense?
Totally, and I think neither of us really picked up on this on day one. And I certainly, I've been told, I guess, in the past that my ball position could be improved, but not by the amount that we saw or you spotted on camera. Nowhere near that amount.
Okay, so I want you to look at this. So as a result of the ball position, you know, I think in session 2, at the beginning of session 2, you said, I don't like this position because I feel like I'm going to start tilting and getting on top of the ball. Do you remember that?
I can sense and see that as I continue from that position there, I'm going to get tilted and a little bit on top of it and feel narrow.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
Yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. Okay, so look what happens here. You were absolutely right. From that position there, look at your chest and your back. There.
Yeah.
You start to go with your chest leaning towards the target. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can say that, and that's the feeling I have. So that makes perfect sense.
This is how ball position influences our body tilts. So I wanted to address this because I knew you were thinking about it. So your chest and back from P3 to P4 is going from there, and you're going towards the target with your back. And that's the bit I think you didn't like.
Yeah, correct.
So
totally
if
correct.
we move the ball position forwards, by virtue of moving the ball position forwards, it actually changes your tilt, right? So there's my ruler going down the center of my chest, my sternum. If I move the ball position forwards, I'm naturally going to be setting up more that way anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the look that we see.
Okay, so that's point 1. So that will look after itself by moving the ball position forwards. It'll naturally set your upper body in a position where you don't have that too vertical kind of position with the body. You'll have right side tilt, and that'll give you a position where you're catching the ball either in a neutral angle of attack or even in an upward angle of attack, which is massively different from where we were earlier on, which is going to help the spin loft by getting the ball forwards, the handle forwards. That'll bring the spin loft down. So angle of attack going up, spin loft comes down, ball goes further with the same swing speed. All right.
Okay, and that's an easy change to implement. It'll just be a new feeling, but I've got that. That makes sense.
Exactly. So theoretically, we've solved that, right? The next thing we've got, if you remember in our first range session when we were doing those extreme shots.
Yes.
You when you were talking to me, you said that you play differently with irons than you do your driver, intentionally, right? Mm-hmm. So you prefer to draw your irons and then you purposely fade your driver. Yet you said that when you set up to hit a fade, you don't feel comfortable and it feels unnatural.
I don't feel ever with the driver particularly comfortable at setup.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when we asked you to hit a big hook, an extreme hook, on swing number 2, you said this feels much better. This feels much more natural.
This feels more natural.
So I looked at the data, the swing. You know, we had TrackMan going, and I looked at the swing data on that, and it was astonishing. What felt to you like you were hitting a massive hook was a pretty much dead straight swing direction. I mean, you were coming from the inside by 1.8 degrees or something, which goes to show that the difference between feel and real is is there, no matter if you're a pro or not. You know, what for some people, if you ingrained a movement pattern so much that when you're asked to do something extreme, the extreme thing isn't extreme at all. The fact was, you were still able to hit very nice. In fact, that first one you pummeled with a lovely draw, and it was like, oh, okay, let's go for a coffee.
That hasn't happened since.
The reason I'm talking about this is because that extreme feeling for you produced something that was pretty stock straight. And this is the reason why I've got so much confidence in fixing your driver swing. And whilst we're at it, every other club in the bag, right? So the reason I'm confident is because I looked at all of the swings we did that day, and I worked out that the path of you, this is not the extreme swings, this is just you hitting normal shots, right? Your path was consistent to 2.6 degrees.
Okay.
Which is pretty consistent. In other words, you were aiming down the left and wanting to manipulate the face to produce a fade, right? Your face was 9.6 or 9.7. So so the path was dead consistent. The face was all over the place.
All over the shop, yeah.
Right. So the reason I have confidence is that in the report or the study that we commissioned Dr. Sasha McKenzie to do, he found that between a flip impact and a lag impact. So basically he modeled a computer swing that he's built in his lab over in Canada, and created a virtual golfer with wrist angles and wrist muscles and God knows else. It basically is a human golfer, and you can program muscle misactivation timings in the downswing.
Wow. Okay.
So he took a flip impact. He produced a golfer to have a swing speed of whatever it was, a set swing speed, and but reach a flip impact, right? Of I think it was 10 degrees, and he did 1,000 swings with that one swing model, but purposefully, intentionally introduced muscle misactivation timings, right? And he did the same thing with a lag swing. So he took a lag position, right? So the difference between those 1,000 flip swings and 1,000 lag swings were, when you looked at the path, the swing path improved by 10% between a flip and a lag. So impressive, but not massive, right? But you're more consistent with a lag. If in a swing path, you're more consistent with the lag. So we can improve your 2.6 path by 10% potentially.
Okay.
Right, which is great. It's already consistent, but we can make
it's already there.
Right. The face angle difference between a flip and a lag was 46%. That's massive.
Is that right?
So
that's huge.
Wow. So if we can get your path going straight, and it's already very consistent, as you would expect, right? But we can control and make the club face more stable by.
Well, I can see where your face. I can see where your face comes from. Yeah, well, absolutely.
Then you're going to be railroad straight.
That would be a nice feeling. Okay, but I get that. That's a really positive. Someone's actually done that report. They've studied it. You're looking at my swing and my angles, and that makes an awful lot of sense, doesn't it? That if my face angle is 9.5 degrees out with a flip, I can't control where that ball is going. There is no. But that's and I keep referring to feelings. That's me on a golf course on the first tee, second tee, third tee. I start to sense everything left and right. You know, where don't I want to hit the ball? Because I know with that swing, I am capable of hitting both those shots. So naturally, with the driver, what's going to happen is I will tighten up. I'll stop swinging. I'll start guiding it.
The legs die, and then
the legs just become so static.
Yeah.
But that one statement you've just made there makes a hell of a lot of clarity in my own mind, but also a huge confidence boost that actually lots of this isn't far off. I know there are bits to improve. It's not far off. It's just this one area that we've been talking about, and these drills and this exercise, and that's going to make all the difference. I believe all the difference in the world. By
looking at your extreme hook swing is almost where we need to be in terms of path, where we need to be, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there with a lower body movement to initiate the downswing instead of an upper body movement, and then clearly by having the correct downswing sequence, we're going to be generating a lot more power anyway. So we'll see the swing speed go up as well. So I think when lockdown ends, we're going to be seeing a different driver of the golf ball.
Okay. I mean, I certainly think if we had the luxury of being able to get out on a golf course, already feel that my number one goal set would be to step on the first tee, aim down the middle, and just try and hit a big hook.
Yeah.
Because I know that's not it. It's not as simple as that. But that already is starting to click into place where the club needs to be. But I would be very scared of saying that before we had this conversation. Yeah. Because if I tried to hit that shot, I would probably expect to pull it off or bail out of it and leave the club face open and shove it out right.
Yeah.
But what you're actually saying is if I try to play that shot, the feel versus real is much more accurate as to what I want, where I want the club to be.
Yeah. You react without you knowing to the ball position. And if the ball position is set too far back, your body reacts in order to make that ball position work for you. And like you said, a small change feels huge to a golfer. So moving ball position and initiating the downswing in a different way will feel particularly awkward. But by getting in the reps,
I'll do the reps.
We'll get you to feel like by the time you do stand on the first tee, it'll be kind of like bedded in. It'll feel natural to you. In session one, you were moving off the ball, not a massive amount, but you were moving off the ball with your hips a little bit, and they weren't going back towards the target. And in session two, with the scythe, to help kind of get you to feel that, we were doing lots of step-in drills, like moving lifting up the lead foot and then stepping towards the target. Now, sadly, you don't have the luxury of stepping towards the target in a normal golf swing, right? So we have to initiate that lateral shift back in the direction of the target between P sort of 3 when the arm is level to the ground and P4. We've got to start our hips moving back to where they were at address, if not further towards the target. So how do we do that, right? That's the thing that's almost unteachable, right? Because it's such a dynamic movement that a lot of pros just don't even try and explain it to their guys. So I'm not sure if you've ever ridden a motorbike before, but have you ever ridden a motorbike? Right.
A while back now, Bertie.
Okay, so I my wife wasn't happy with me having mine, so I was sort of like forced to sell mine after I had one crash. Anyway, but basically, if you were to turn a motorbike at speed, if you wanted to turn left, you don't turn the handlebars to the left, right? Because then you fly off the right side of the bike, right? In order to turn left, you use negative, I suppose, forces. You take away the resistance, and then the gravity falls towards the left. So if you actually push your left handlebar forwards, as if you're turning the handlebars to the right, there's no rubber on the road in front of where you're wanting to turn. So the bike naturally leans that way. And it's exactly the same principle in the golf swing. A lot of pros say, in order to start the weight shift going towards the target, you push off your trail leg. Well, how can you push off your trail leg when your left hip or your lead hip is in the way? All right, if you did push off, all you would do is you'd straighten your right or your trail leg, right? That would gain height, and you wouldn't move laterally because your left hip is preventing you from going that way.
Yeah, I get that a lot in lessons. Is that simple question? Do I lead the downswing with my left hip? Do I push off my right? Yeah. Do I use my right knee? Do I use my left? And obviously, people have a feeling, and it works for better with others. But you're absolutely right. If you're behind the ball in a good position on top of the backswing, and then you try and push off your trail hip or trail foot, you're not going to achieve the right result.
So I'm going to do another screen share with you here now. It's just like riding a motorbike. If you want to turn, you've got to take away the resistance, and then gravity will let you fall in the direction that you want to go. Okay. The way you take away the resistance is by flexing the lead knee. P3 up to P4, so sort of sharp lead arm parallel to the ground, up to the top of the backswing. If you at that stage start to flex your lead knee forwards towards the ground, you'll notice that your lead hip lowers and you naturally start leaning, or your lead hip will go towards the target, and that is what initiates the downswing.
Okay.
Right, and that's what initiates the downswing, whilst maintaining no movement with the chest and the arms and the wrists at all. It's just you maintain all of the lag just because it's not moving. And if anything, you'll create more lag, you'll load lag because your body wants to go that way, but the club has still got inertia going towards to finish the swing.
Yeah, no, get that, and yeah, and that's a position we see with so many tour players.
Exactly that. They sort of
it gives the impression of time as well. The club is still almost on the backswing as the lead knee starts to kick in.
Exactly.
And it just looks like they have all the time in the world to get the club back to the ball.
Exactly. And maybe we're making it sound so simpler than it actually is, but it's a very dynamic move, and it's a move that Woods and McIlroy and Dustin Johnson and all those guys make it look so effortless, like you said. But actually, when they do it, it's not that difficult, especially when you can focus consciously on a movement, and you can go outside. You don't have to hit balls to try and do it. You just do it, and suddenly you notice that you've got this whole movement going on, which keeps everything good up here and starts the movement towards the target. So here's the interesting thing that will be insightful for people watching this video, which they may not have realized. Here's the sort of the diamond in the sand bit. For advanced players, for players who are wanting to shape the ball, you can help your body get into a position at the top of the backswing, which will engender a shot shape of your choice. And what I mean by that is, if you point your left kneecap, your lead kneecap, towards your lead toe, it'll restrict the hip turn, which in turn restricts the chest, which changes the direction of the swing path.
It's going to force the club on the outside.
Yeah. Exactly that. And conversely, if you wanted to shape the ball going right to left and hit a draw, for a right-handed player, obviously, you would point your lead knee in the last final phases of the backswing between P3 and P4. You'd start pointing your lead knee. You point the lead knee to the middle of the stance, and that'll give you a deeper hip turn. That'll turn your chest more, and you come back to the ball more from the inside. Okay, so those are good little tip for those guys who are wanting to focus on something a little bit more advanced. But let's focus on the lead knee to initiate the downswing, and that'll help us in what we're doing. All right. So what I wanted to do was to give you some drills. The drills that I wanted to talk to you about were, in order to engender that kind of feeling of lateral movement before our upper body starts down.
These are the quick drills that I want you to do at home under lockdown. So the first one is to grip the club at the hosel, to put the handle of the club away from you, and then bend down excessively, as we were doing on the mat in the studio. So I want you to bend your knees excessively and keep your chest relatively upright, and pretend as if you're hitting something at sort of just above hip height. And I want you to grip the club here, and I want you to take a normal stance as if you're aiming with your body alignment straight down the fairway. And then I want you to feel like in the backswing, as if you're turning normally in the backswing, but in your follow through and in your downswing sequence, I want you to try and imagine you're throwing the club into the right hand rough. And what this will do is to encourage your lower body to fire first, get your weight into that lead side firstly, so you've got that lateral shift, and then you've got that rotation towards the target, but you're kind of delaying the lag angle from unfolding until later in the downswing sequence, so you can actually pretend as if you're throwing the club into the right hand rough. So let's just have a look and see what that looks like. So alignment straight down the target line, bend excessively in the knees, flay your feet out so you can go more into your knees, and then pretend as if you're throwing the club out there. Okay, there. And as you can see from this camera here, my lower body becomes much more active. Okay, so that's drill number one. Drill number two, and what I want you to do is to aim straight down the target line with your feet, but push the ball dead straight into the right hand rough. And again, this will encourage, in the downswing, a lateral shift into that lead side. It might even help to have that wedge of wood under your trail foot, which will encourage you to have more weight into your lead side. And I want you to take a normal backswing, but push the ball into the right hand rough without any fade or a draw. And again, that will encourage your lower body to get more active in the downswing sequence, and encourage that the path comes from the inside to out through the impact area. But again, it's focused on getting your body action going to get that lateral shift going towards the target and then rotating towards the target. And that will again delay the lag angle from unfolding until later in the downswing. Okay, so the third drill, grab the broom handle and grip it halfway down. So you've got half the broom handle up here and half below there. And what I want you to do is to point this end of the broom down towards where the ball position would be, hovering above where the ball position would be. And this end of the broom handle is against my sort of lower part of my abdomen, against my above my lead hip. And all I'm wanting to do is to cock the club going back, and so it's in P3 in this position with lead arm parallel to the ground. I've got my sort of lag angle set here, and all I'm wanting to do is to come through impact until the broom handle is vertical to the ground. And again, all we're trying to do is to get weight into the lead side and prevent the lag angle from unfolding too early. If the lag angle unfolds too early, clearly I'm going to give my ribs a good bruising. It's called the rib tickler for a reason. But this, it really encourages, again, weight into that lead side, and then you can get that weight shift going and then rotating through impact, so you can clear your lead hip out of the way backwards and not releasing the club early, so you get the handle forward through impact. Okay, so there, okay. So that's drill number 3. The last drill, you said you mentioned you've got this the DST compressor at home. This is where the DST clubs are a great help. What I want you to do is to get the DST compressor wedge, and again, get used to the feeling like you're preloading your weight onto your lead side, pointing the impact line up to my eyes. That'll push the handle forwards into this position here. And what I want you to do is to hit no more than 10-meter pitch shots. Okay, and I want you to not release that angle, so I don't want you to flip here through the ball, and if anything, I want the impact line pointing to my lead shoulder through impact. So I'm really exaggerating that forward handle position, and that will encourage me to get through impact and start getting used to the idea of getting my weight into the lead side and not flipping my hands. But this really is the best drill to start the process of creating a movement pattern that delivers a lag impact through the ball. Okay, so there, I can preset the handle in this position, but it's just a drill. Okay, so there and there. Good luck with those.
But I like those. I like that's a very good concept.
It'll be a leg workout, basically. No, I don't want to see you the next time with bandages around you.
Just yeah. So in terms of backswing, there isn't one as such at the moment. What we're working on is this kind of almost half swing.
Yeah, I don't want you to have any feelings at all about what you're trying to do in the backswing.
Okay.
You don't have a problem with it. Seriously, you don't. Your backswing is absolutely great. You don't have a problem with the backswing. You can set the club. You can get into a balanced position at the top. There was one comment about someone saying, "Could you have a larger shoulder turn?"
Yeah.
I've already responded to that saying, yeah, he could, but there's nothing wrong with where you are. And also, if you did want to have a bigger shoulder turn, by virtue of that left knee drill that we were talking about, that left knee flex drill, that will create
That's going to get me go. Yeah.
That lead hip comes forwards, which means you have a deeper turn anyway. So that's going to fix that.
Okay, so thanks for joining us for this video. Just remember that these drills have been created specifically for Ben, or for someone who has a fairly static lower body movement at the initial part of the downswing in the transition phase. So if you suffer from that problem, then do use these drills. They will definitely get your lower body moving laterally towards the target and then rotating your body in the direction of the target in the downswing sequence, while keeping the handle in front of the lead forearm, which is the key to getting a lag impact. Anyway, so join us again for a catch up in session 4. See you soon.